The following episode happened in the little hamlet of Rhein in northern Bavaria, where we ended up after World War II. It was in 1949 that we were moved by a force of decrees of the authorities into the house of a not so nice family, peasant farmer family, the Vegas. And they had three boys. The two who show up in this episode are Fritz and Hermann. It is called The Hedgehog. One day during our first spring with the Vegat family, Fritz and Hermann come to our door with a baby hedgehog, found in a nest that has been destroyed by the plow and horses' hoofs as a field was prepared for planting. The other babies and the mother were killed. Do we want this little orphan? Yes, we do, even though we have no idea how to keep it alive. We have to handle the little animal carefully because it already is covered with quills that stand up straight as it rolls itself into a defensive ball. But the quills are still relatively soft. We fashion a small nest using an outgrown woolen sweater. When I see that the baby appears to be cold in its nest, I pick it up and place it under the sweater I am wearing. That's where I keep the little thing whenever I am home for the next several days. Herr Rollinger, a fellow fugitive, advises us to use a dropper for trickling milk into the hedgehog's little snouts and to look for worms and grubs in freshly plowed fields so we can feed them live to our ward. It turns out that we have to use tweezers for feeding, or else the hungry little fellow tends to bite our fingers in its eagerness. Every day now, Reini, my brother, and I have to search for an ever-increasing number of worms and grubs. Sometimes Fritz and Hermann bring us a few they have collected during their work in the fields. Very quickly our hedgehog gets used to being handled by us, and it no longer raises its quills, which harden rapidly and are dangerously quickly now. But we can pick up the animal and carefully turn it over in our hands. There it lies, looking like a kid in its baby pillow. The little leathery black face with two paws like small hands curled under its chin, surrounded by soft brown hair, which in turn is surrounded by dark gray quills with white tips. From the face, two shining round button eyes look at us trustingly. It is adorable. Soon the hedgehog is growing visibly and is getting very lively. At night, that is. The animal is living and sleeping in Reini's and my room, but unlike us, it sleeps in the daytime and rummages around at night. This rummaging gets louder and louder. It sounds as if the hedgehog had wooden shoes on its 4 feet. Instead of a nightstand, I have a rough crate next to my bed. This I have covered with a cloth hanging to the floor. One night the hedgehog climbs up the cloth. On top it finds my metal vase, a valued gift from my father. It has a round shape and is about the size of a tennis ball. The hedgehog knocks it to the floor and proceeds noisily to play football with it for the rest of the night. Meanwhile, it is early summer. All plowing of fields has come to an end weeks ago. Reini and I find it ever harder to collect enough worms and grubs for our ward, whose hunger seems never to be satisfied. At last one day, the hungry animal bites my hand pretty hard. It is time to let it go back into its natural setting. We can only hope that it can manage for itself. Its increasing wildness suggests that it can. One evening, we carry it to the edge of the field where it was found and set it on the ground. It hesitates only for a moment. Then it confidently moves off into the dusk.